Congressman Adam Schiff is a Democrat from California. He joins me now from Capitol Hill. He's also the ranking member of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. Congressman, good to have you with us. The president is catching some flack for his decision to attend a baseball game in Cuba yesterday. He was seen doing the wave in the crowd, enjoying time with Raul Castro not long after news of the attacks broke. Moments ago in Argentina, the president was asked about that decision. Take a listen to what he said.
It is very important for us to not respond with fear. We defeat them in part by saying, you are not strong, you are weak. We send a message to those who might be inspired by them to say, you are not going to change our values.
Congressman, what do you think of the president's decision to keep his travel plans this week unchanged?
Well, I respect the decision that the president made, and I think the words that he expressed in Cuba and Argentina were resolute, were strong, were thoughtful and compassionate, and frankly, I'll hold them up as a contrast to the bombast we're seeing from Trump and Cruz and their supporters any day of the week. So I understand the president's wanting to keep to his itinerary and manage both of these important challenges at the same time that comes with the office of the presidency. But I think a lot of the people that are criticizing the president are, frankly, people who didn't agree with his Cuba policy, his change with respect to the relations with Cuba, and haven't agreed with the president more generally in terms of the fight against terrorism. So I don't find any of those critiques very surprising.
And, Congressman, we know that U.S. officials have been saying that there's no credible or new specific threat to the United States. But here in Belgium, obviously, some folks are saying that there were some missed signs of an imminent attack. How certain are you that U.S. intelligence is prepared to stop any coordinated ISIS attack in the United States?
Well, we're certainly doing all that we can, and I was in Brussels and Molenbeek just a few weeks ago to confer with folks there to find out, what more can be done, how we can better integrate our intelligence efforts. Here at home, our predominant concern, frankly, is still homegrown radicals, much like Farouk, the male shooter in San Bernardino, people who are inspired by ISIS to act and may choose now to act out. That remains the most pressing and most immediate threat here in the homeland. But over the longer term, there is the capability that ISIS could send people to the United States, infiltrate people, and execute an attack like we saw in Paris and in Brussels. So that's not something I think that we can afford to be complacent about at all. But I think the immediate challenge has to be this homegrown radicalism problem.
I'm curious to get your thoughts. Obviously, a lot of folks in the U.S. right now being very vigilant. In fact, there was some moments of panic in the U.S. today when there were reports of a suspicious package at Atlanta's airport. Do you think Americans are a little bit more vigilant than perhaps people in other countries, like here in Belgium, where the Paris attack suspect was walking the streets in plain sight and was, capable of evading capture for nearly 4 months?
Well, I don't know that I can say that we're more vigilant here, but I do think we have a lot more community cooperation. I think that Americans are more likely to see something and say something. I think particularly in our Muslim communities, many have a great relationship with law enforcement and work hand in hand as partners. That is typically not the relationship between the Muslim communities in many European countries and their law enforcement or intelligence services. So it's a very different situation here, and one of the things that I'm concerned about is these comments that you're seeing by some of the presidential candidates threaten to place entire religious communities under suspicion. That's a great way to alienate people. That's a great way to balkanize people. That's a great way, frankly, to import Europe's problems into the United States. That is not something that we ought to emulate here.
All right. Thank you, Congressman Adam Schiff. Always a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Thanks for joining.